Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And in this 10-minute moan, we'll look at the absolutely ridiculously outrageous, bamboozling fact that the Scottish Government forked out £3.5 million to recruit a crew for a ship that's not sailed yet, and they've done it 2 years ago. Right? This is bonkers. If you want to support the channel, you can become a member. You could subscribe, which is free, or just see if you want to help me. Click the wee thumbs up button down at the bottom of the screen. That does wonders, thanks. Now, Fury, as taxpayers, fork out £3.5 million on crew wages for an SNP ferry that's never carried a passenger. The SNP government hired 14 crew members to work on the MV Glen Sannox in 2022, but 2 years later, the vessel still never entered service on the crisis-hit Calmac network. Taxpayers have spent a staggering £3.5 million paying these wages for the crew of one of the Calmac's delayed ferries, despite it not carrying a single passenger. The Scottish Government hired 14 staff to work on the MV Glen Sannox in 2022 when the officials believed the massively over-budget vessel was at least 6 months from completion. It was originally set to sail in 2014. Yeah, that's 6 years ago. But 2 years on, the crew have yet to work on the job they were hired to do and have been paid a huge sum in wages. The Sunday Mail revealed. One despairing Holyrood MSP said, "I have had my head in my hands at the latest extraordinary twist in the SNP's ferry fiasco." Scottish Conservative Shadow Transport Minister Graham Simpson said, "Calmac must have crew ready for these vessels. The problem is, of course, is that they have taken so long to build. Calmac was doing the right thing, but they have been let down, as have our islanders. But this whole fiasco is just another example of how money has been wasted during this flawed project. The Glen Sannox has yet to enter service after a catalogue of construction delays. The price tag for the vessel, along with the second ship, the Glen Rossa, has grown from the initial estimate of 97 million to over 360 million. Yep, 263 million quid over, and they ain't finished yet. It could get worse. The total wage bill includes 3 captains, 11 engineers, while a further 5 officers were taken on last year. And the Scottish Lib Dem economy spokesman, Willie Rennie, questioned why Calmac had pushed on with recruitment despite the possibility of further delays. "I've had my head in my hands, yet more money wasted on these dreaded ferries. We know there were discussions about possible construction delays when Calmac decided to employ the crew members, which makes it particularly troubling that they pushed ahead with recruitment regardless. Bills, delays and disruption are all islanders and taxpayers have ever known from these ferries. As one of his first acts, John Swinney must get a grip of this never-ending ferry fiasco." Scottish Labour's transport spokesman Alex Rowley said, "The SNP's woeful mismanagement of this ferry project has left islanders stranded and taxpayers picking up the tab. Workers in both the ferry and the shipyard have been left in the lurch by this incompetent SNP government and the chaos it has created. There must be no more delays or added costs to delay these lifeline ferries. The ship is currently docked on the Clyde near Ferguson Marine Shipyard at Port Glasgow. It is now afloat and has been undergoing sea trials, although drone footage obtained by the Sunday Mail shows very few workers aboard." Duncan Mackison, former CEO of Calmac, said normal procedure is for senior crew staff to be hired 6 months before a new ferry launches. He said a number of senior crew already recruited to operate MV Glen Sannox have been working hard in both preparing the vessel for service and supporting existing Calmac operations. 3 masters and 11 engineers joined Calmac in February 2022 at a time when MV Glen Sannox was scheduled for delivery for July 2022. An additional 5 roles were filled in November 23. At that time, delivery was expected to be between March and May 2024. We're now in May 2024. The boats ain't sailing in that Clyde. Senior crew members for any new vessel are required to attend the yard where the vessel has been built. Roles such as masters and senior engineers play a crucial part in getting vessels ready to enter service and have been developed operating procedures, work instructions and vessel familiarisation for the MV Glensannox. Time for all this is factored into recruitment, and the crew members we have recruited have spent a significant amount of time at Ferguson Marine. They provided cover and relief on other major vessels in our fleet at various points, allowing us to maintain services across the network. Yeah, but that's not what you employ them for, so you would still have been able to supply your existing services without them, Mr. Calmack. Anyway, there we go. So, £3.5 million, 2 years, is £1.8 million a year. And he's saying that you only need them for 6 months. So it should have been 900,000. That's some dough. £900,000 for 14 members for 6 months. That's equivalent to £1.8 million per year for 14 staff. Surely these figures are not right. It's just impossible for me to comprehend. And even if they are right, we would only needed £800,000 to £900,000 if they were done in a normal fashion, which is 6 months before a boat goes into service. So we've blown £2.6 million. Who cares? When we're talking about hundreds of millions of pounds you overspend already, what does an extra £2 or £3 million matter? The whole thing is an embarrassment to a nation, and in particular an area within Scotland that was for so many years celebrated throughout the world as one of the finest shipbuilding areas in the whole of the world. We now can't build 2 simple ferries. We hear about delays for engine issues, fueling issues, where these things are going to dock. You're like, I know it's quite a big project, right? I understand that building a boat of that size is no like building, I don't know, a go-kart for your weighing out of wood and a couple of pram tyres, right? I'm quite aware of that fact. But we're 6 years behind and 3-4 times budget. And every other week, there's just more nonsense comes out. I mean, my own father was involved in shipbuilding. He was a draftsman, he was a naval architect. So, in our family, I've always been quite proud of our shipbuilding tradition. And I know loads of people at work still in the Clyde, BA Systems and the like. My own father worked there until he passed away. And you've got full of good people that, get a knowledge of how to build boats. But that's just, you just think, how can you actually make this thing so bad? Well, when you factor in that BA Systems can build boats in the Clyde, and you go a few miles down the river, and we can't build boats, the only common denominator is the government. It just beggars belief. And you would think, this is a government that made someone the Minister of Independence, right? Well, why not just make somebody the Minister of getting this job? Fucking right. That would be a good start. Just make somebody responsible. See, that's your job. And as long as A, we're in power, and B, these things are still getting built, you are the go-to guy for that project. Go and sort the job out. But no, you'll get the Nicola Sturgeons of the world and the Hamza Yusufs of the world turning up with a hard hat to wee pretendy launches, with painted on windies and all that nonsense when it's a good wee photo opportunity. But nobody wants to take responsibility. Just give somebody the job. That's your baby. You own it. Go and sort out the problems. See if you need any help, come back to the Parliament and tell us. Right? But bugger off you pop. Go and sort the job out. Make sure there's no more delays, no more embarrassing stories, and no more over budget spends. Right? Just crack on. Nah. Naff about, and then go down and try to get a wee photograph holding the baby, when there's a wee bit of job saving to be done, or a wee pretendy launch, all that nonsense. And I think that's the problem we've got. And this isn't maybe unique to SNP and the Scottish Government, to be fair. But running a country is a business. you've got an income and an expenditure, right? That can't be bigger than the income or you end up bankrupt. So you decide what you're going to spend your money, you know roughly what you're going to get in, you work out how much of that you want to spend on whatever the project's called, whether it's NHS, education, whatever it is, building a ship, right? And you go and work to their budgets. And you don't turn up and go, sorry, made a mistake, overspent £1.5 billion, right? Oh, that's nonsense. We need to get proper management into a country. Does that make sense? It just seems so much common sense to me that you just run it like a business. Or even run it like a bowling club or a kids' football club, like one I run. These things aren't businesses, but you run them like businesses. You know, because you know I'm going to take in X amount of pounds and I need to spend Y amount of pounds. And Y can't be greater than X or the wheels fall off it. And that's where we're at. And do you know what? See if you've not got enough. See if X is smaller than Y. You need to trim Y. And you need to be honest with people and say, here's the deal. See these free bus passes, see these free prescriptions, see these free university places. It's not working for us, right? And make some big boy decisions, but you don't. All you want to do is keep spending, keep the Y getting bigger, right? And then blame the person that gives you the X. It's their fault for not giving you enough. When you know X is going to be all along. But that's the problem with these people. They needed to remain in power to push their single driver, and that's independence. So it was bollocks to everything else. It doesn't matter if it's broke. We just keep shouting independence and, you know, putting out some stupid press releases. The Scots have had enough. We're sick of it. Time for some adults in the place, right? So let's get shot of this mob at Westminster election and the Scottish elections, because they deserve no less. If you enjoyed the video, give me a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please subscribe and get involved in the comments. That's always good for a laugh. Now, unless you're any of these cranks in the SNP, any of the ever reducing cult members, see everybody else, have a great day. Cheery bye now.